Well, hello there. Howdy, everybody. So today we're going to be cleaning out some injectors, and you're probably going to put in the comment section, why don't you just replace them? Um, I guess I could, and I may have to, but really what happened to this thing here is the vehicle sat for an extended period of time, and because of ethanol fuel, it's caused a little bit of corrosion in the fuel rail, and rust has got in front of some of the strainer screens. And there's a way to clean them and save a lot. If you replace all these injectors at like $70 a piece, 8 of them, it's really expensive. And at the shop here, we're geared towards saving customers money, especially in this economy now. We have a really strange economy. Don't get me started on that. So let me show you what. Well, the vehicle I'm working on at this point is a Dodge Ram, which is the same as a Dakota, the 3.9 V6, the 5.9, 5.2, all had a similar style fuel system. And the fuel rail is a steel fuel rail, so even if it was stainless, over time, ethanol fuel with moisture around it can cause issues. However, I don't think this was made out of stainless. I think this was just like galvanized or some kind of aluminized steel. But let me see. Let me flip the camera around here. So here are the. I've already cleaned a couple, but I'm gonna show you what I did to do this. This injector right here. Okay, I need to. Inside of it, there's a lot of rust, and let me get where I can show you better. Okay, so here's a little bit to do, and there's a piece of something right there. You can see that flaking around, and that's some of the rust that, or a rust flake that's made it inside the injector. Let me see if I can get it to dump out in my hand. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see that right there. That's a couple of them had a little more than that in there, but I figured it'd be a good video to kind of show you what we're going to do to get these things cleaned out. Get out what we can by hand real quick. We'll knock that out. There's a lot of it. There's another little chunk. It'll come out. There it is. You see that? Okay. And typically what it does, it'll just pile up in there and to stop the fuel flow off. But I've got a neat little setup here that works really well for this. But first off, let me show you what else. First, we're going to do before we get that far. So I'm going to just go in front of this injector with some good old-fashioned brake cleaner that's really good, that burns. The more that it burns your eyes, the better the brake cleaner is. Just an FYI. So basically we're just going to go in front of there and give it that little jammy jam. I'll show you something else though behind me. See a setup I've got behind me here. Blow it out real good just for the heck of it. Sometimes. All right, so now let me set this up in the vise real quick. Let me get a little closer here. I'm going to move into this. Hopefully I can keep it in camera. But just a real quick, what we got here, we've got on the battery hook connected to it is a little pulse box. And it's kind of universal. It's just got a little plug-in or a little, spade little things, and they're not really specific to any injector. But this is kind of a messy thing. Let's see here. We're going to we're going to hook this up to see if we can get flow through. There's an apparatus that you can put over these injectors to make this even more. I'll show you that in a second. See, we're going to hit the pulse deal right quick. Is that in camera? Can you see that? Okay. Let me get behind it over here so you can see. Listen, wait, before I do that, listen. So you can hear the injector. It is working, so that's a good sign. And then you hear the difference when the air actually goes through it. So that injector's cleaned out pretty well. We'll look back in front of the strainer to make sure that it looks like it's supposed to. Let's see, we'll take another look. Yeah, we've got a clean strainer. Everything looks good inside this injector, so we'll move on to the next. And I'm going to show you part of this setup that works if you've got one that's really stopped up. So let me stop the camera real quick and then we'll roll back. Okay, this here is a little more cumbersome. All right, let's see. Can we see that? What we've got going on here? We've got this little. No, your teenagers. Keep your teenagers away from this. All right, we're gonna just kind of do this here. We need our air hose too, which I have beside me. We'll get that going. But this is gonna make a mess, and so I want to put this over my little pulsar box so I don't get too much brake cleaner on it, but basically we're going to try to hit the pulse button. And as you can see, that happens. We had a good seal. All right. We're going to have to kind of hold this thing on. It got a little bit through there, but that's why I say this part of the video is where it's like, even good guys have bad days. Let's try this again and maybe not have this thing come off. All right, so we've got that going through there. Then I'll put this back in the vise again, and we'll hit the pulse button again. So we can see that that's opened up. Well, that's how you clean out injectors. We'll get this on and we'll see if it runs right. It was skipping on 2 cylinders because 2 of the injectors were completely stopped up with rust at the very end of the rails. But we'll get it together, see what happens real quick. Okay, so we're going to set it up outside. We're going to do a cold start. We've got it all back together. Let's see if it runs smooth like it's supposed to. All right, here we go. Okay, so we've got the camera set up. So what you seen there was I left the Schrader valve out and I cycled the key once or twice off camera to push out any residual rust that I blew out with the air hose. But I had to, carbon will fall down whenever you take the fuel rail out where it surrounds part of the ports, and I cleaned those a little bit. So you get a little carbon that might fall down and hit over top of the valve. Plus it had to build up the proper amount of fuel pressure in that rail. And so that was a complete cold start. And you notice, like I said, a little skip at the beginning. That's normal. It seems to be smooth now. So let's take it up the road and see how it runs. I'm gonna put the air box and everything back on it. But the customer, described that he thought it was something with the transmission, because when it would go into 4th gear, and then lockup mode in the torque converter, overdrive lockup, he noticed that shimmy, and he's like, "Man, I think my transmission's bad." I said, "I think it's the misfire on those 2 cylinders, because it was hitting on all but 2 cylinders." So let's take it up the road and see what it does. So we're going up the road in it. Let's see if it shimmies. You'll be able to see the broken dash shake real bad if it's not right. So far, so good. Runs really good, actually. These Magnum engines have pretty good power, actually, for what they were back in the day. I way more prefer these Magnum engines over the 4.7 that they came out with that replaced the 5.2, I guess. Then you had the 5.7 Hemi that was like the truck Hemi. I still would rather have the 5.9. I really would. I know that the Hemi might have made a little bit more power, but I don't know. We used to put 150 shot of nitrous on a stock 5.9 or 5.2. Didn't mind it a bit, really. Just tap right into the fuel rail and throw a fogger over top of that little top hat and spray the crap out of it with a 150 shot. Not out of the hole, of course, but rolling. And being they were already a forged piston in these motors, it didn't mind it a bit. It really didn't. If you had a Dakota, a V8 in it, like a 4-wheel drive Dakota with a 318 or a 5.2, that was a 12-second truck, man. But I think we've got this thing whooped, though. We're going to take off here at this next stop sign and get back to the Hazel. or the shopple, the shizopple. This thing runs really good. I think we're gonna, if as long as he drives it and doesn't let it sit, I don't think he'll have an issue with the fuel rail deteriorating anymore. We got a lot of that out of there. If it was me, I would go the extra mile and just put non-ethanol fuel in it as much as possible. And it looks like it could use some because the gas light's on. Look at the camera all out of focus. You can hear that thing. And I've got the airbox and everything on it. It's just a noisy airbox. So yep, that's my take on things. So we'll get back to the shop real quick and wrap this video up with I'll show you what I used and where I found this stuff and how to move forward. So this here is our basic setup. They make some that are a little more involved where they have individual pigtails for each style injectors, but I don't use this tool like I used to just because of the way they've changed the fuel systems and vehicles. But you could just power this off a 9-volt battery if you wanted to. You can hook that up in there. You can, it powers off of a 12-volt battery. 9-volt batteries are like $35 nowadays, so I just use my little 12-volt because this thing might sit and the battery just rot sitting in there. But Amazon, I think I gave like 25 bucks for this a long time ago. I've used it several times and it's been very handy. And you can see how well that works. We got it all cleaned out. The motor runs great. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day, week ahead. Please leave me a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this video. And tell your friends what's going on. If you like what we do, hit the like. Peace out.